Like you said, I think
And that's only the Elk Grove campus, it's just a
Yeah, they could have worked because we are connected.
Right.
Oh, awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Of course. My two cents, if you ever got any,
Oh, that's all I want.
You're being picky.
Yeah. I've gone from being the most comfortable to now the least comfortable. Swinging that pickaxe.
Mr. Curtis, how are you, sir? Good to see you. You look good.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish I was more like you.
It's amazing what courts will do for a guy.
Hear ye, hear ye. And of course, that power to, Tim, right? That they can throw you in for,
Does that apply to you?
Someone I worked with for a long
Valerie, who wants to sign on?
Well, everything, all is good. Everything's good.
Joe's ahead of the game.
Oh, yeah. Going in the meeting.
Keep putting it on.
Yeah, he had me till he went spiritual.
One of your 2 days ago colleagues here. I was able to move things around.
So I was surprised to see you.
I mean, no, I am. I didn't think you were going to be here. Yeah, I was able to make it. Thank you. It's close to 6 o'clock, but it's about 6. Let me know, Joe, when I'm ready to go.
You had a story. You had this. Oh, yeah.
They did?
That's close, Joe. Okay, 6 o'clock. Of course, Dr. Washer, you asked me to sign stuff, but you gave me the pen ran out, big cap, which is my signature.
Of course it did.
So how do I do that? Just
you do it.
you can hold it. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Somebody else can.
Okay, here we go. Call to order. It's 6 o'clock, and it looks like everybody is present. So would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, this is public participation at this special meeting. The business of this meeting shall be limited to the specific business listed on the agenda. The public may, however, address the board regarding any items listed on the agenda during board discussion, consideration of that item. The only item we really have is one action item, Resolution 2019-76. That's an affirmation of denial of the charter petition for Gateway Academic and Vocational Academy. The board will consider a resolution which affirms the action taken by the board denying the petition of the Gateway Community Charter Incorporated to establish the Gateway Academic and Vocational Academy Charter School at its August 6, 2019 meeting, and adopting the findings of fact attached here too. Dr. Washer, would you please walk us through this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We have placed this item on the agenda at the request of legal counsel, Mr. Paul Gant, so I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Gant.
Thank you, Superintendent. Mr. Board President, members of the board, first of all, please accept my apologies for the inconvenience of bringing you back. You are back tonight at my request. The purpose really is one less of legality than, at least formal legality, than the general obligation that we have as school districts and school boards to ensure transparency, clarity, and appropriate process. So the reason that I requested tonight's meeting be set was that after our meeting on August 6th, and upon review of the recording, it occurred to me that there was a concern that there could be a lack of clarity. I believe that the board's action was lawful, but I was concerned that because of the wide-ranging discussion that took place at that meeting, that the public could have been somewhat confused, and even, if you will, Gateway and all of the folks that they had here that night, at least some of them might have been confused about the reasons that the board took the action that it did. And so in an abundance of caution and to make sure that all of the very interested parties were given full clarity and transparency about the process, I suggested that you be brought back in order to give further clarity for the reasons of your action. The purpose for tonight's meeting specifically then would be to ask the board to affirm, if you deem appropriate to do so, what I understood to be the case on the 6th, namely that notwithstanding any other questions that may have been raised or discussed, the specific and only reasons that the board denied the petition were those contained in the proposed findings of fact attached to the resolution presented on August 6, 2019. And those are also set forth in tonight's resolution, affirming, should the board choose to affirm its previous action in that regard. Assuming approval, and I will just state this outright because I noticed that legal counsel for Gateway is not here tonight. After the meeting on the 6th, Ms. Kaur did ask that I, as quickly as possible, provide her with an executed resolution and forward that to her. So in order to expedite that process tonight, assuming that the board does approve the resolution to affirm, then I'm going to ask that it be signed immediately and that the votes also be recorded handwritten on the resolution, that affirmation, so that I can serve it on Ms. Kaur no later than first thing tomorrow morning. So with that, those are the comments that I have. I'm happy to take any questions from the board or respond to any comments that may come from the public tonight.
Okay, is there any comments, concerns from any board members? Is there any comments or concerns from the public?
Yes.
Come on up.
So, Dr. Cindy Peterson, Gateway Community Charters, honored to be here representing my organization one more time with you this week. And Mr. Michael Gillespie, who you know, my assistant superintendent, who is providing you with the statement and backup material for our response today. And for the sake of clarity, it's fairly short. I'll read it straightforwardly to you. Dear members of the Board of Education, as Superintendent CEO of Gateway Community Charters and as the lead petitioner for Gateway Academic and Vocational Academy, I've written this letter To reaffirm our stated opposition to the board's action that was taken on August 6th, as well as resolution number 201976. At the August 6th Board of Education meeting, your motion and board action neglected to adopt finding of facts for the denial of the charter petition, and that fact appears to have created the district's call for a special board meeting today. To reaffirm our position, the resolution contains information that does not support a lawful basis for denial of a charter pursuant to Education Code 47605B. Additionally, the non-factual and inflammatory language in the resolution appeared to be used to elicit a reaction from the board and the public that ultimately distracts from the strength of our educational programs and our long history of success and public accountability. The following reaffirms our response to the Lodi Unified School District Board of Education. As regards the GCC provided the district with the required facilities description. Gateway Community Charters provided the district an adequate description of our proposed facility in the charter petition. The description for facilities for GAVA was outlined on pages 144 to 145 and provides a reasonably comprehensive description of the facilities to be used by the charter, namely commercial property to facilitate its independent study program and offer services to students, including but not limited to testing, tutoring, small group sessions, and teacher-student meetings. Further, the intended location is also identified in the charter, namely within the district boundaries in the North Stockton area. Additionally, GCC provided on May 22nd, 2019, two commercial properties located at 9210 Thornton Road and 8807 Thornton Road in Stockton in response to the district's communication of May 20th, 2019. As stewards of public dollars, GCC is justifiably cautious about committing to a lease agreement on a facility until a charter has been approved. As expressed during the August 6th board meeting, we are working with a commercial realtor who has extensive experience in the North Stockton area. Further, as stated at the August 6th board meeting, these locations and facilities are comparable to the commercially leased locations for our three current SAVA schools located in Elk Grove, Sacramento, and Natomas. The community of North Stockton is 26.1% white, 13.7% African American, 33.9% Asian, 33.8% Hispanic or Latino, and 26.5% of residents live below the poverty level. The violence and the crime rate are over 70%. These community demographics reflect similar characteristics of the communities we serve at the three SAVA locations in the greater Sacramento area. Students from these areas and community would greatly benefit by having the option to attend the unique educational model offered by GAVA. As regards transportation and student access concerns, in response to the board president's expressed concern around student transportation, there are several public transit routes served by the San Joaquin Regional Transit in the North Stockton area, and as of July 2019, all students in the Stockton area are allowed to ride the bus free of charge. For GAVA students who reside outside the free transit area, we would provide, as we expressly stated at the last board meeting, bus passes similar to what we currently provide our students in order to eliminate transportation as a barrier for quality education. Attached to this letter and what you got provided to you is a route map that shows Route 43, which runs from I-5 to State Highway 99 and connects directly with Routes 93 and 3 through the Thornton corridor. In addition, routes 570, 23, and 371 serve the area and connect directly to Route 43 on Hammer Lane. We do not consider transportation to in any way be an impediment to student access to the proposed location. As regards the Gateway Community Charters Foundation and the Brown Act, the district's findings in this area are not factual and in fact are immaterial and inflammatory. GCC provided a significant number of documents to the district regarding the purpose of the GCC Foundation. It is important to note that the GCC Foundation is in alignment with the practices of other similarly situated foundations created on behalf of school districts, such as your own Got Kids Foundation, the Twin Rivers Project Dream Foundation, Sac City's Education Foundation, and the San Juan Education Foundation. Research on these and other school districts and County Office of Education has substantiated that the GCC Foundation meets the very same standard and level of integrity and public transparency. Gateway Community Charters fully complied and exceeded the requirements of the Public Records Act request and correctly completed all of their tax documents. As to the Public Records Act request, to restate what was shared with the board in my letter on August 5th and also in testimony given during the August 6th Board of Education meeting, the district made an extensive request for public records to GCC on May 31st. On July 15th, 2019, GCC produced all requested documents, excluding only attorney-client privileged correspondence, and provided the district with all of this in a Dropbox containing in excess of 18 folders of documents. As to the Form 990 regarding the district's claim that the GCC filed a, quote, deceptive and underdocumented annual return, comprehensive review of the 1718 IRS Form 990 again shows that the district has provided a non-factual inflammatory information in the resolution. Contrary to the district's stated finding, it is noted that GCC did not underdocument, but rather overreported out of an abundance of caution and of transparency in this line item. The IRS is not concerned with entities who, out of caution, provide more information than is minimally required. The entire 69 pages, totaling nearly 3,000 entries of our QSS report from the Sacramento County Treasury account, was provided to the district and clearly substantiated for the district the makeup of this item in explicit detail. GCC also offered for the district to come in and view the backup for all of the nearly 3,000 entries, to which the district refused. It is worth again stating that the GCC at the time of this 990 was made up of 7 charters, 9 at the time of this communication. It is readily apparent from the 990 and other readily available public information that the GCC is very financially sound. In the same spirit of transparency that we have been committed to in this entire process, we have included in your packet a copy of our audit report for the year in question. The audit report and the 990, as you can see, were prepared by Gilbert CPAs, who are a highly recognizable and reputable firm in the world of public education. The audit report is shared annually with authorizers, county offices, and the state for transparency and accountability. It was also readily...
Dr. Peterson, you're reading the letter that we just received a copy of it, is that correct?
Yes.
And you just have 2 more paragraphs to go, and you're welcome to read the next 2 paragraphs. But we could just have this attached to the record if you like.
I appreciate it. I just would ask for just patience for me to get through.
No, that's fine. If you want to read the last 2 paragraphs, we're more than happy to hear them, but I also was offering you that opportunity that they will be received into the record, they'll be made part of the record if you choose not to.
Thank you.
Okay.
So along with the fact that the audit report is provided to our authorizers, county and state, for transparency, and I've given it to you today in the same spirit of transparency. It, like all our other documents, including all of our contracts that fall under policy and other things, are in our agenda online, which is on our webpage, which is accessible to everyone in the public. So had the district been interested in seeing the backup or answering the questions, all the information was readily available. And I will remind you that I told you about that when I talked to you on Tuesday, that we go to the highest level to show transparency to the public and anyone. And had anyone asked for any of these, we also would have gone above board to provide them. The GCC administrative salaries. In response to a question by Trustee Porter, GC staff provided approximate information regarding our administrative costs. GCC Chief Business Official Aaron Thornsbury shared that approximately 25% of the budget goes to management and general experiences, which we clarified to mean salaries, facilities, offices, general operating expenses, etc. The GCC would like to reaffirm that the actual number is 21.42% of our expenses that go to management and general expenses. As outlined in IRS Form 990, the one that you have been referring to in all your other findings, and provided to the district in the Public Records Act request, on page 7, it is clear that our general salaries are in fact 5.1% of total expenditures. Lastly, we just want to once again express our disappointment that the district's process was less than collaborative. As shared with the board during public comment, we successfully operate 9 charters. We serve over 4,800 students. It is our work to maintain cooperative and collaborative partnerships with our 5 separate authorizers, and we do this for the benefit of our students. All GC schools are WASP accredited and maintain a 3% budget reserve. The GAVA charter, with its included budget and cash flow, is a replication of an already successful model utilized by GCC and operating in 3 other school districts in Sacramento. During the charter petition process, GCC reached out to district staff on numerous occasions via email, phone, to facilitate a collaborative review process. We have been committed through our long history to strong, collaborative, and respectful relationships with all stakeholders on behalf of students and the communities we serve. The district responded to the GCC with a letter from their attorney demanding we cease communicating with the district and to only speak with the attorney. As the petitioner, we were never given the opportunity to highlight the strength of our educational program. District staff did not visit our other schools, request information, ask for clarification, communicate concerns, or seek information that would have answered the misinformation reported in this resolution. As no issues were identified in the review by district staff, it is our belief that the district found nothing of objection in our charter. It sincerely is our desire and our mission to advocate for the at-risk students we seek to serve and who would greatly benefit from this option. We continue to be open to any further communication, any further information, any other ways that we can collaborate with you to serve students. We are committed not only to transparency and respectful relationships, but I want to go back to something that was said right before the decision was made earlier this week, and that was a comment about that gave the impression that somehow we thought that your teachers don't love your kids. And what I would clarify for you is there's enough love for all of us to love our kids. And there are many options needed and many people needed to love our kids. And nothing we said was in any way meant to construe that the teachers you have and the programs you have aren't doing an amazing job. We just think we can add to the portfolio and also add to the love. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the public?
I would like to make a couple of just very
okay.
brief comments, if I may, Board President. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Peterson for her presentation and her vigorous advocacy on behalf of GCC. I'm not going to go over in detail the reasons already set forth and explained in the proposed findings of fact. I will say that staff continues to recommend the denial of the petition and the affirmance of the board's action on August 6th based on the contents of the proposed findings of fact. So I'm not going to rehash those. I'm not going to expand on those. I did want to, first of all, note that as GCC did on the evening of August 6th, we've heard another presentation where there are arguments and statements that go well beyond the 4 corners of the proposed findings that the district set forth in its document. So there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But I want to make it clear that that's why I wish the board to be clear as to its basis when it makes its decision. Should it decide to affirm, I am asking for clarity with regard to what that affirmance tonight would be based on. Staff is requesting that it be based on the contents of the proposed findings of fact previously submitted and attached. The other comment I do want to make, and I won't get into some of the more technical concerns that came up in the context of the district's due diligence. It was exercising its due diligence in demanding information and documents. It discovered concerns with regard to the Brown Act for the foundation. It discovered concerns with regard to how the Public Records Act was being responded to when the charter indicated that compliance with the Public Records Act was a promise being made within the proposed charter. It was very concerned about what appeared to be either very deficient or incorrect information in the Schedule O for the 990 form, possibly even misrepresentations, but we didn't say they were misrepresentations. Our concern was we don't have enough information. We were trying to get more information. But whether they were certainly one or the other, apparently, and that is argued there. The one further comment would be with regard to the facilities, because I heard that apparently staff had no objection to the charter, had no concerns about the charter early on, and I would disagree. When the charter petition is received, typically district staff responds within 5 days that it's been received and tries to identify in short order any obvious concerns. And one of the concerns identified early on was the question of the facilities. That kind of stood out from early in the process, and we did notify them of that. I have to point out that there were a lot of requests, and they were referred to by Dr. Peterson. I agree. On behalf of district staff, we made a broad and I would say detailed request under the Public Records Act. The reason to do that is because there's a public policy involved here, and it's been articulated repeatedly, both by the legislature and in the press, for that matter, that we have an obligation and a duty as a school district looking at a charter petition to be diligent. And so we did a diligent Public Records Act request. One of those requests was for Gateway to provide us with any documents or records showing its efforts to obtain facilities, appropriate facilities. And I will tell you that we received no, that's 0 documents reflecting. In other words, there were no documents that they were able to provide us other than their letter, their follow-up letter identifying 2 possible properties, commercial properties they might be looking at. And that was the sum total of the record showing their efforts to identify facilities. So I have to point that out because this has become obviously a contentious point. And with that, I don't have any further comments. Unless there are questions.
Do we have any questions? Okay, and then at this time, I move to adopt Resolution 29-76, affirming the board's August 6, 2019 denial of the charter petition for Gateway Academic and Vocational Academy, and adopting the proposed finding of fact attached here too. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, have a first and a second, and we're on our own. There's no students around or anything else, so calling for the board vote then. Again, a yes vote affirms the denial of the petition. No vote is not. Okay, this motion reaffirms and it passes by a vote of 7-0. And with that, I'm closing this part of the meeting. We are going to go into closed session. I have something I think we need to talk about real quickly there. Is there any comments from the public about what's going to go on in closed session? Okay, so we're adjourning the closed session then.
And if we could take just a couple of minutes to go ahead and complete that resolution, get the paperwork done, and if Dr. Peterson would like a copy before you leave, I'm more than happy to look into getting a copy. Thank you.
That's his job. It was 7-0, right?
Interesting. What? No, I was reading it.
I exactly remember they watched the clock.
Okay. Are we going to go into personnel?
Yes.
We're gonna go back over here.
I didn't sign it.